The first one up is going to be, of course, we got to talk about this video between Alyssa Mercante and Taylor Lorenz. We have to. We have to, ladies and gentlemen. We have to. It is what it is. So, if you guys are unaware, Alyssa Mercante and Taylor Lorenz, the two most hated journalists on both sides of the aisle, both in gaming and politics, both of which enact the same exact strategies when they're dealing with their political opponents, have decided to fusion dance, join together, and have themselves a little bit of fun on a video where they go and basically play victim the entire time, to my understanding. Again, I haven't seen the video aside from watching it a little bit on Spanish AT stream, and then I started reading manga like I always do. But we're going to react to this together because, of course, all you guys started asking me to watch this, react to this, sending this to me in messages, tagging me on X about it, blah, 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 all that stuff. So we're going to check it out because what could possibly go wrong when two victim creatures decide to get together and fusion dance right in front of our eyes? What could possibly go wrong? So the title of this is called Doxed, Harassed, and Silenced: The Fallout of Gamergate 2.0. It's not even on YouTube yet. Just an FYI. It's on Spotify. So goes to show. Let's see exactly what we got going on. Let's press play and let's start.
This is somebody who has been making videos about me for months. You know, the next thing I knew, someone was posting pictures of the inside of my apartment.
Remember
Somebody was posting pictures of the inside of your apartment? When did that happen?
Gamergate?
Women speaking out online have also been met with attacks via social media using the hashtag Gamergate.
What started as an online spat about the ethics of gaming journalism quickly escalated into a full-blown culture war.
It helped catalyze the alt-right movement, which secured power and prominence during the 2016 election cycle.
You know, I've noticed that Alyssa Mercante is going on a bunch of podcasts and doing a victim train. And I wonder, oh, you know what? What am I doing? Hold on. Let me go full screen. I'm sorry. There we go. There we go. That's much better. That's much better. Much more professional looking. She's going on the victim train, which I find to be very interesting. And part of me feels like this has to do with the court case. I feel like she's doing all of these victim train podcasts and stories so that they can present it in court if it ever gets to that point. So I don't know, because again, she wasn't really doing this beforehand. So.
Well, it's happening again. Back in March, journalist Alyssa Mercante wrote a story about how Sweet Baby Inc., a video game consultancy, had been helping gaming companies attract more diverse audiences. Alyssa's story was deeply reported and factually accurate, but the reaction to it quickly took on a life of its own.
Oh, man, talk about curated statements. Talk about curated statements. Alyssa Mercante's article was deeply researched and super factual. Like, no, it wasn't. It literally wasn't. It was only factual about what she wanted to be factual about. That's the reason why so many people started giving her hate in the first place, because we all realized that her and everybody else, not just her, but she decided to make it about herself. But anyway, her and everybody else were lying by omission. It's still lying, right? Just because you don't actually come out and lie about something specifically doesn't mean you're not lying through omission. You are choosing to leave out pertinent information as to how Gamergate 2 started in the first place, which is hilarious because Gamergate 1 had to do about ethics in journalism, and that's exactly what ended up happening in Gamergate 2.0. It was the lack of ethics in journalism that led to this in the first place, because she didn't want to say the truth. Anyway, let's see. Let's continue.
Within days, Mercante had been threatened, doxxed, and was the target of a vicious hate and harassment campaign that's become known as Gamergate 2.0. Today, I'm talking to Alyssa about what it's like to be at the center of an organized smear campaign, how she's fighting back, and why the mainstream media.
Wait, so we went from organized. Hold on, Smash 18 in this chat. We went from organized to semi-organized, back to organized now. So are we organized or are we not organized? Is this an organized campaign? Is it not an like, I'm so confused. this narrative is getting very difficult to follow. Either we're organized or we're not organized. Can you guys make up your fucking mind? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Continues to be complicit in these attacks. Hi, Alyssa. Welcome to Power User.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right. So for people who don't know who you are, you're a pretty well-known online culture video game journalist. How did you get started in this space?
I've been writing about video games for my whole life.
What the fuck is in her ears, bro? What the fuck is in this woman's ears? And why is it black around her eyes? You look tired, bro. You look really tired. I'm not going to lie to you, man. In all seriousness, you look really, really tired. I think you should probably stop trying to be a fucking warrior on X and maybe get some sleep. I'm serious, because you look really fucking tired. That's crazy. That is crazy.
But in terms of it being my career, it's been the last 5 or 6 years. I was at Games Radar, and then I went to Kotaku, which is owned by Geo Media. And my reporting has always been on video games and the culture surrounding it, but only lately has it kind of become the topic of everyone's conversation.
So you wrote this article about a company called Sweet Baby that really blew up. And
you know what's amazing about that? She says only recently is at the topics of everybody's conversation, but what she's leaving out is that everybody else is also the topic of everyone's conversation. It's not just Alyssa Mercante. Alyssa Mercante is one of like hundreds of people that get covered every single day. But for some reason, she's the only one that's getting harassment. She's the only one that is the one being called out. It's like, bro, we talk about so many different developers. We talk about so many different companies. We talk about so many different journalists. We talk about so many different YouTubers sometimes. We talk about everybody. But for some reason, it's like, nope, it's got to be about me. It's got to be about me.
Be very divisive on the internet. It also seems to have sparked this months-long harassment and abuse.
I feel like she's reading a teleprompter. Nobody talks like that when they're speaking, naturally. This almost feels as if they didn't even have the conversation live. It feels like Taylor Lorenz recorded her questions and Alyssa Mercante recorded her answers, and then it was edited together. That's what it feels like.
Abuse campaign. Tell me about the article and kind of what you hope to achieve by writing it. What was the crux of that story?
Sure. So in the darker corners of the internet and message boards that probably the average internet user would never come across, I noticed a conspiracy theory was kind of making the rounds about this particular consulting group and what they do in the video game industry. Consulting groups in the video game industry are a lot like how they are in the movie industry. They'll get called in.
Wait, why are we called the darker corners of the internet? Is it because I'm brown? Is it because I'm brown? Are you being racist? Are you being racist? Come on. Come on, Alyssa.
By
Don't be
studios
racist.
making games and do a pass on the script, or they'll offer insights into a character. Sometimes they do sensitivity reads. It's kind of like they wear many hats and they do very, very different things. This one consultancy group, Sweet Baby Inc., was being accused of forcibly injecting woke ideologies and characters into contemporary.
Dead. Wait, can we go back? Can we go back? Dead. Didn't make money.
And characters into.
Dead. Didn't make money.
Contemporary big budget video.
Dead. Sold 1/3 of the original game. Unfortunate.
Video games, and it was being used as sort of a cudgel as to why there was a black lead character in, an award-winning game from that year. And
yeah, award-winning doesn't mean shit when you guys are the ones that are judging on the awards. And you guys are the one giving out the awards. Doesn't mean anything. I'm an award-winning CEO. Marginalized, mind you.
I started looking into the people who had created this group, ostensibly monitoring any game that this consultancy firm, Sweet Baby, had been involved in, and found that.
Not illegal, by the way.
That they had their own Discord, which is like an instant messaging service commonly used in the games industry.
You guys also have your own Discord, which is commonly used in the gaming industry, by the way. The journalists have their own Discord. It's been proven. It's been known. You have your own Discord, by the way, that you showcased on your Twitch channel with multiple people that are known to be doxers, harassers, like Airbags, for example, who are in your own Discord server. So why would you make it seem as if they're organizing a harassment campaign because they use Discord when you yourself and all the other journalists use Discord as well? You guys have your own private Discord server where you get together and do your nonsense. But I'm sure Discovery is going to figure that all out pretty easily.
Used for people who are looking for people to play other games with. And that Discord was full of racist, vitriol, homophobic slurs, misogyny, all the kinds of...
Even though there was a bunch of people in there that weren't white, even though there was a bunch of people in there that were people of color, but they're just a bunch of racists, right? There's a bunch of white supremacists, right? Even though there was women in there, but yeah, there's a bunch of sexists. Sure.
Stuff that I hadn't really seen in that at that level online in a while.
So you notice that Sweet Baby, which is this...
Bro, nobody talks like this. And there's those... Like, if you're having a live conversation, it doesn't edit like that, right? So this video is heavily edited. I really don't believe that they had a live conversation together. I genuinely believe that she recorded herself asking questions and Alyssa recorded herself answering questions. That's basically it, because all of this seems extremely edited. This is not a live show.
Consulting firm had been increasingly involved in all of these video games that were being, it seems like, the target of backlash, like you mentioned. So you kind of dug into what was fomenting that backlash and found this group of people that were really dedicated to tracking this consultancy firm, Sweet Baby. And it seems like producing coordinated harassment campaigns against any game that, I guess, deigned to partner with this consultant.
Why are you smiling like a fucking retard who saw its first titty? I don't understand. Why is she doing that? Why is she smiling like she saw her first titty, bro? This makes no goddamn sense. The fuck? Bro, she's over here like this. Look at this shit. She's like, watch. She's like, tell me, Taylor. Tell me, Taylor. Taylor, tell me. Yeah. Yeah, it's all coordinated. Yeah. Yep. It's all. Oh, squirrel. It's like, bro, the fuck are you doing? Are you retarded? What are you doing? Are you gooning? I don't understand.
The
fuck?
Yeah, and honestly, once the piece that I published went live, and that piece also included interviews with...
It's not a piece, bro. The Mona Lisa is a piece. What you wrote online was objectively trash. It's not a piece. It's a piece of shit, probably. But if you're trying to compare it to an actual piece of something, yeah, that's the closest you're going to get to a piece.
The people who work for Sweet Baby Inc., because the goal of the piece was to sort of tell you exactly what a consultancy firm does and what it doesn't do, and try and debunk this theory in the clearest terms possible.
Yeah, you tried, all right. You sure as fuck tried. You failed, but you tried.
Unfortunately, the moment that piece went live, the new conspiracy theory cropped up, which was that games journalists were running defense for this company. And then it just kind of, the attacks spun off of that and just started getting worse and worse. So any game that was even remotely connected to Sweet Baby Inc., anybody who worked at Sweet Baby Inc., a lot of people who were just women or people of color or queer folks who were writing about this.
Again. There are people of color. There are women out there, content creators. There are people of color, content creators out there. There's all kinds of people out there criticizing you. And you are over here trying to be their representative when nobody asked you to be as such. So you keep trying to throw in all these buzzwords in the hope that they're going to stick, but you refuse to acknowledge the people of color that are actually criticizing you and saying you're wrong. This is why you have Atreus blocked, or you just refuse to talk to him. This is why you have Kata, you refuse to talk to them. You don't want to talk to anybody who is even remotely melanized. You don't want to talk to anybody, but you'll talk to and interact with all the white people. You'll talk to them. You'll talk to Vera Dark. You'll talk to fucking Smash JT. You'll unblock them, talk to them, retweet, all that stuff. You'll engage with them, but you're not going to engage with anybody that's even remotely brown or black for that matter. You absolutely refuse. because you know that's going to destroy your narrative about, oh, I'm just doing this to protect those little poor people of color. They need me. They need me. The bitch from Brooklyn, they need me to protect them.
Or talking about this online, they were just the target of this harassment campaign, and it has not stopped. It's been nonstop since March, actually.
As you mentioned,
It's not going to stop if you keep putting out stuff. See, it's not a harassment campaign to talk about what a journalist writes on. It's not a harassment campaign to talk about what a journalist puts on their Twitter and their social media profiles, which are all public, by the way. It's not harassment to cover people who are in the industry that you particularly talk about. So if we're in the gaming industry, we talk about gaming for the most part, usually, or entertainment as a whole, it is not a bad thing to talk about you, just like it's not a bad thing to talk about an actor, just like it's not a bad thing to talk about a company, just like it's not a bad thing to talk about a community manager, or whatever the case may be. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all to talk about that.
there are so many of these consultancy groups that go around and consult on things like diversity and also just helping these game companies, like you mentioned, appeal to different audiences, right? You don't want to just appeal to one demographic when you're making video games. Why do you think Sweet Baby
demographics? Oh my God, bro. Taylor Lorenz, you don't even play games, bro. You serious? Wait. Taylor Lorenz, you seriously trying to come out here and tell people how to make video games that can appeal to the mass market? You don't fucking play video games. You don't play video games. What are you talking about? You're like the female John De La Rose. What are you talking about? You don't fucking play games. But you're out here trying to tell people, oh, you know, we got to appeal to the biggest demographic, and the only way to do that is by pandering to POCs. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Has become such a target.
I think it's a perfect storm of stuff. I think it doesn't help that Sweet Baby is run by a Black woman named Kim Belair. I don't think it helps that a lot of their employees are people of color or queer folks or non-binary people.
Again, all kinds of those people criticize Sweet Baby Inc. People of color have criticized Sweet Baby Inc. Women have criticized Sweet Baby Inc. All kinds of people have criticized Sweet Baby Inc. But you want to make it sound as if it's just white people. Oh, the evil white people. The evil white people criticize Sweet Baby Inc. because it's got a black person at the helm. Because most of its employees are black, women, or non-binary people, which is basically just women with an extra step of retardation. Because God knows that 99.9% of non-binary people are women because they don't have any kind of special fee-fees by being just a woman anymore, right? You can't be gay and be special anymore. You can't be a woman and be coddled anymore. So how do you feel special? Oh, just say you're a non-binary woman. Oh, then everybody cheers your fucking name. You're so amazing because you decided to get to the next level of retardation. You're like the Super Saiyan 2 of a fucking dumb woman. It's incredible. You need to repent.
Don't think it helps that the video game industry, which grew exponentially during the height of the pandemic, where more and more people were buying game consoles and playing games that had never been involved in this industry before. And all of the video game studios started hiring more people, looking to make more money, which resulted in mass layoffs the last 2 years. I think people...
No, not at all. That is an absolute lie. See, here's the thing. Companies, when they're looking to expand and they just made a ton of money, they're going to hire a bunch of people. This is a great pause, by the way. We're going to leave it on here for a little bit as we discuss some things. Okay, we're going to leave it on this screen for just a second. All right. It would be a real shame if people screen cap this. It would be a real shame if people screen cap this and put it on Twitter and tagged it with hashtag Hypnocast. It would be a real shame because I know she's already watching anyway. Anyway, so that's not true at all. Number one. Number two, so when companies are successful, they want to expand. They want to hire more people to help with that expansion, right? It's only natural. But here's the thing. When those companies then decide during their success to then fuck around and find out because they feel like they're too big to fail, what ends up happening is they give away all that money that had them successful and booming. They give away all that money to make titles that nobody asked for because they thought that people were going to buy their shit no matter what. See, here's the problem. In 2020, a lot of gaming studios boomed astronomically, right? Like she said, that part is true. They boomed astronomically. But they also got way too overconfident, and they thought that people were going to buy their shit no matter what. They thought that they had control over the market because people were locked in their houses, lockdowns were a thing, and digital media was prime real estate at that point. So they thought they were too big to fail. So they're like, you know what? We need to hire a bunch of people who can work from home. And gee, who is most likely to want to work from home? Most likely a fucking super lazy Gen Z kind of person who claims to be non-binary, right? Most likely. Anyway, so they ended up hiring a bunch of people. And then when everything opened up and people started to not buy whatever the shit they were putting out, now all of a sudden they're starting to panic. They're like, wait, where's the money? Where's the money going? We just had all this money. Where's it going? Well, you fucked around and you found out. See, because here's the thing. If you were giving people what they wanted, you would have had all the money in the world to be able to survive. You would have had all the money in the world to be able to keep the employees that you hired during 2020. Because here's the truth. Some studios were actually able to keep their employees. Not many, but some of them, right? So these studios, they were able to keep their employees. They did it because they were smart about their production. They were smart about their costs. And they were also smart about the product they were delivering to people. The companies that you advocate for, on the other hand, were not smart about that. And now they have the result of having to fire people. It is what it is. But no, you want to blame it on anything else other than the companies fucking around and finding out. Because again, you run damage control for these companies. You and everybody else too. Again, why is Taylor Lorenz talking about Gamergate, bro? Why is Taylor Lorenz one of the people who's interviewing you about gaming? This bitch hasn't seen a video game since she got railed in fucking Brooklyn with you somewhere, probably.
People have also noticed that there is a perceived decrease in quality of some types of games, games that are made.
There's no perceived decrease in quality. There is only actually a decrease in quality. We have seen, by far, an immense amount of bugs, glitches, delays, all kinds of shit that has happened over the last few years when it comes to video games. There is no perceived decrease in quality. There just only is a decrease in quality. Developers have gotten worse over time. Writing has gotten worse over time. It's unfortunate, but that's just the truth of it. And that's a lot of the shit that we call out these days. And then when you really start diving down the rabbit hole and you realize, oh, wow, a lot of the new people that are being hired for positions like that are related to quality, they're not exactly qualified for the role. And it's not just because of their skin color. It's mainly because of the fact that they just don't have the experience necessary. But they were put in that position anyway because of their skin color. So then we end up in a whole nother conversation, which is about DEI practices and all that stuff. But anyway, let her cook.
With microtransactions so that you'll buy the game, but then you'll keep buying stuff in that game because you want to wear a cool outfit or you want to have a cool weapon. And those games are launching and then failing kind of miserably. And Sweet Baby Inc. was involved in one or two games that did not do very well. But unfortunately, what happened with Sweet Baby is it just became this kind of catch-all term for anything that they deemed to have any sort of DEI in it, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if there was something that had a Black character or a female lead, it was Sweet Baby treatment. Sweet Baby must have touched it. So now it's kind of spun out into a lore that in many cases is completely untrue, that this development company hasn't even worked on most of these games.
About a decade ago, there was this.
Well, no, what people, first off, nice little fast edit right there. She didn't listen to a fucking word you say. This is how you, bro, okay, so this is how you know that it is highly edited. Before I even get into the whole SBI thing, this is how you know that most likely they recorded this all separately and then put it together. And they're trying to make it seem like a conversation. Because she just went through this entire response to Taylor's question. And Taylor didn't even say anything about it. Taylor just went right to the next question. It's like, what are we, speed running questions here? Are you having a conversation or are you not? Is this actually live or is it not? You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem live to me at all. I'll put it to you like this. When it comes to the whole nonsense about SBI, nobody was tying SBI actually literally to all of these video games. What a lot of people were doing, sometimes myself included, was essentially saying the Sweet Baby Inc. effect, right? Because unfortunately, we cover an industry that doesn't really talk, it's not really transparent, right? This is the big problem with the gaming industry. They are not transparent. So we don't know what consultancy firms work with what games until we end up seeing the credit scene for that particular game. So what we end up doing is we call it the Sweet Baby Inc. effect. And then we end up finding out eventually who that consultancy is, if we even find out to begin with. Because a lot of times now, you guys are just flat out hiding it now. You're not even saying anything because you're trying to protect the companies. That's really what you're doing. But we've mentioned other companies before. Baby Ghost, Weird Ghost, Hit Detection, right? Sweet Baby Inc. We've covered multiple different consultancy firms that all do the same exact thing. So again, I don't understand the lie here. You're trying to misrepresent what we are saying, which not the first time you've done that, right? So let's be honest.
Called Gamergate, which obviously you and I are very familiar with. It was this really coordinated harassment campaign against a bunch of women in video games journalism, bad faith attacks, and
this girl's
smears.
reading a
And it was
fucking
really
prompt.
this ultimately served as a sort of blueprint for how the far right would come to weaponize the internet.
Oh, the far right. Because everybody who disagrees with what you guys are doing is far right. I think it's fair enough to say, okay? I think it's fair enough to say that considering what just happened with Gamergate, I think it's fair to say that your whole accusation of, oh, it's the far right people who are coming after us, I think it's fair to say that that's bullshit. Considering what just happened with Gamergate, I think it's fair to fucking say that that's bullshit. It's not just far right people coming after you, because that's an excuse. That's a cope that you have, right? You try to come up with whatever fucking boogeyman that you could possibly come up with as for the reason why people are all criticizing you, because it can never bother you, right? It can never be your fault. It can never be your issue. It can never be a problem you caused. It's always somebody else doing it for you.
That received quite a bit of attention after the fact. There was a bunch of think pieces about it in 2017, 2018, 2019. Like, wow, that wasn't that bad, right? Good thing that was over. It does seem like, though, things kind of went underground, or at least weren't so bad for a while. In the past year, really with this new sort of campaign against Sweet Baby and some of the journalists involved like you, it seems like we're experiencing almost a Gamergate 2.0. What do you think has led to this resurgence?
There's so many things, and I keep saying perfect storm, and it feels like a cliche that I've repeated.
Yeah, Alyssa. Wait, Alyssa, what led to this resurgence? What led to the resurgence of Gamergate? Gee, what could that be? I'm just getting amnesia here. I don't quite remember. Does anybody remember? Like what could have caused the resurgence of Gamergate? I don't know. It's just, maybe she can tell us. Let's see.
So many times when talking about this, but it is sort of that. It's being an election year, and all of the kind of political disagreements and conversations that happen around an election year certainly make the internet an interesting place. I mean, we know that the far right and the people who helped propped up Donald Trump's first run for president were directly pulling from the playbook of Gamergate. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we started seeing it kick up again during an election year. And
Oh, let me let her cook.
You can see that there are people who are in the now president-elect's circle saying very similar things to what Gamergate 2.0 or the people who are inciting this harassment campaign say, in terms of, this company's infested with DEI, or we need to end wokeness. And the issues that the gamers have with video games and the diversity of the industry can easily be applied to larger political issues that they may have. And this sort of belief that there's this massive, countrywide conspiracy to elect people or put people into jobs who don't deserve it because they're a minority, or to cancel people because they don't think that that's fair. And I think that, combined with the way that Gamergate just kind of eventually disappeared, also meant that a lot of the major players in the video game industry didn't really have to acknowledge it. You didn't have to have Microsoft say, this is screwed up and you shouldn't do this. Or so.
Bro, there's even jump cuts in their responses. This is such a heavily edited video. It's insane. Seriously. I just noticed that jump cut right then and there before. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
When you say, we stand with the people who you are accusing of not being ethical in terms of journalism. And I think what happened when this started kicking up again in March was there were a lot of major companies and a lot of major people in the industry who kind of stuck their head in the sand, hoping and praying that they wouldn't get the eye of Sauron on them, that they wouldn't start to get these people looking at them and attacking them. And unfortunately, that ends up being a sort of tacit approval of the way that these people are behaving giving, or at least giving them the space to feel like, well, they can continue to get away with this.
Wait, so you mean to tell me, before we get to this next jump cut and this next question, because this bitch is not even listening to Alyssa, you mean to tell me, bro, wait. So we're tying this. We are tying this to Trump. That's what we're doing. We're tying this to Trump. Even though all of this started because a Canadian decided to try to cancel a Brazilian gamer, but somehow all of this is because of Trump, an American president. Is that what we're saying right now? Are you fucking kidding me? How stupid are you? There's no way that you're coping this hard. There is no way that you're coping this hard when it was literally a Canadian versus a Brazilian, and this is where you're going with it? Oh my God, bro. I knew these people were dumb, but there's no way. There's no way people are this dumb. That is crazy. My man Trump is out here getting strays for shit he didn't even start in his own country. That's fucking crazy. Oh my God, that's wild.
It seems like this campaign has obviously spanned the internet. It's all over YouTube, Twitch, every social platform. But
yeah, because it's so organized, right? We're just fucking meeting up in our basements with our fucking KKK hoods, and we're getting together and meeting up and trying to figure out how we're gonna harass these 1 or 2 female journalists, because that's clearly the story that you guys are all trying to sell. You're absolutely insane, bro. You can't prove anything about organization whatsoever. And if anything, I would dare say that it's very easy to prove that you guys are the ones that are organized. It's very easy to prove because you're projecting harder than John De La Rose projects about his lack of playing gay games. I'm telling you, you guys are so easy to decipher your bullshit. And I guarantee you, you are the ones that are organized. I guarantee that you are the ones that get together on your Discords to release the same copy and paste article within 1 hour of each other. I guarantee that you guys are the ones that try to put certain fucking shit together against whoever you may deem to be the enemy at the time. I guarantee you are the ones who do it. And a courtroom that would go into discovery and realize all these secret Discord servers and whatnot would be very easy to prove that you're the ones that actually have organized campaigns. There's nothing organized about our side. We're just all thousands of different YouTubers talking about the same different topics. You mean to tell me that so you really think that fucking Smash JT is organized? Have you seen his fucking wire management, his cable management? Have you seen that man's cable management? I can't even get him to organize his fucking sex shack. You mean to think that I can get him to organize a harassment campaign? Are you serious right now? Have you seen some of these YouTubers' rooms? Have you seen some of these YouTubers' rooms? Savvy looks like she goons 24/7. Her room exploded. I can't even get her to organize her room. And you mean to tell me we're going to organize a fucking harassment campaign against you guys? You serious right now? Come on, bro. What are we doing? What are we talking about?
so much of this coordinated harassment and attack stuff seems to be happening on Twitter, or X rather now, especially under Elon. What role do you think has Elon's X and its sort of toxic algorithm played in boosting this Gamergate 2.0?
There's a couple of things. First of all, the terms of service that X/Twitter has in place are clearly not being policed or monitored as well as they should be, or as well as they were before.
You're so right on that, Alyssa. Oh, I'm so happy you said that. Up until recently, that's so true. The X's terms of service was not being enforced properly. But thankfully, after the recent banning of somebody who advocated for the death of someone else on X, like Airbag, for example, he lost his main account and it got suspended permanently, to the point where now he is trying to hide in a parody account, pretending as if it's not his account, because he's addicted to X and he can't let go of the clout. Even though all of his clout is just bought for bots, at the end of the day, he needs that validation of everybody thinking he has a following, even though when he goes live on Twitch, he's lucky if he gets 30 viewers at best. But he's so addicted to X that he can't let it go, that he's willing to go through every single loophole of a rule possible in order to keep his supposed parody account. But that's besides the point anyway. Yeah, up until recently, X wasn't enforcing the rules. But thankfully now it seems like they have started to with the banning of his account. So it's only a matter of time as the other people fuck around and find out that perhaps they will get banned too. But hey, I mean, you know, it is what it is. We'll see. We'll see.
Before Elon Musk took over, there are clear-cut violations of terms of service. I mean, people with slurs in their names.
But it's not just
slurs in the names. Gee, I wonder who you're talking about. Could it be McDuggins? Could it be McDuggins? The one who changed multiple lives. McDuggins changed the lives of everybody. Do not forget McDuggins, because McDuggins doesn't forget you.
the terms of service, right? Like, I guess,
Oh,
what
no.
role do you think the actual algorithm plays in the fact that you have these like right-wing figures that are able to amass so much power on that platform?
Yeah, why don't you go to fucking John F. Trent and ask him if he thinks I'm a right-wing figure? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let me see how that works out for you. I'm sure you guys will have a fantastic conversation. Because you could both talk about something that none of you guys do, which is play video games. Yeah, you could both do that. Go ahead, have fun.
I mean, it has to do with the monetization also of hatred and harassment. I mean, you can buy a blue check now and you can farm engagement off of that so you can buy to have your account have a blue check next to it and earn money off of all of the engagement on your tweets. And
Hey, by the way, Alyssa Mercante, didn't you have a blue check mark at one point before people called you out on it and then you got rid of it? Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, Alyssa Mercante, you had a blue check mark that you were paying for because you yourself were farming engagement, and then you got rid of it once you realized that it was not, from an optics point of view, exactly very good for you to have a blue check mark, especially when you're trying to sue somebody for supposedly making money off of your name and farming you for engagement. By the way, guess who also had a blue check mark before they got banned on Twitter? Airbagged. Guess who else has a tweet out there in the nether that I'm pretty sure I have screenshotted in a folder talking about how he purposefully farms engagement on Twitter to make the few $100s that he makes on X? Because he also paid for X. I mean, I'm just saying.
so if you tweet something incredibly controversial or something that's going to get a lot of interactions, you're going to get more money. And those things are also boosted through the algorithm to people's homepages.
Also, I want to be very clear about something too. All of these fucking fake ass journalists had blue check marks paid for when you were able to hide the blue check mark. But then X, if I'm not mistaken, took away the ability to hide the blue check mark. And once that happened, some of them gave it up, but most of them didn't. She's one of them that gave it up because you were able to hide the blue check mark. But people caught on to the fact that you were subscribed to Twitter Blue because you were typing longer than the allotted amount that you were able to type without the blue check mark. That's how Nick Calandra got caught.
I mean, I obviously have another Twitter account that I use to monitor things. And that account is the entire homepage is just filled with absolute horrible, racist, homophobic, transphobic, harassment, abuse, all of these things. And
so you purposely stalk people's accounts? Why would you purposely stalk people's accounts? It doesn't make any sense. If you really looked at those people's accounts, you would realize that the majority of the time they're not talking about you. So you have to go out of your way to watch their accounts on an all-day daily basis just to hope and pray and wait for the one time that that person might talk about you so that you can screenshot it and pretend as if they're doing it all day? Are you serious right now? I'm sure Discovery would have a field day with that alt account of yours. I'm sure. And it sounds like you're coping because people caught on to the fact that your YouTube homepage, which, by the way, your YouTube homepage, there's no reason for you to have an alt account for your YouTube homepage. You could just watch the content on your main account. Nobody's going to know because you never talk, you never comment. I know you're in here right now, but you never comment in the chat. So you don't have to have an alt account to do that. But your YouTube homepage is filled with Smash JT, Will the Fans, myself, 8-Bit Eric, all kinds of people. So the algorithm knows you better than you know yourself. That's pretty obvious.
And it's just not stopping. It's not being taken down, and it's being pushed to the top of the page and pushed into people's eyes. And they're rewarding that by giving people monetary payouts for when their tweets hit big.
Talk to me about this.
Why would they take it down? There's no reason to take down tweets about public figures or information that's publicly available. There's nothing wrong about it. You consider everything to be something worthy of being taken down unless they're talking positive about you. And again, it's not just Alyssa that's like this. They're all like this. Every single one of them is like this. So there's no reason for Elon Musk or X to take it down. There's literally no reason.
Structure.
But keep in mind, it's always about money. I want you to understand this. Every single one of these motherfuckers that do not play video games, but like to be in this space and complain about the more successful people, they always mention money every single goddamn time. They mention money because they are obsessed with the idea of making money. They are in this space to make money. They're not here to entertain you. They're not here to talk with you. They're not here to provide information or content for you in the hopes that perhaps they can grow. They're not here for that. They're here to make money or to at least be able to control you. It's one of the two. It's either money or power, which is why they're never going to be successful content creators ever. Even the people here that are trying to pretend to be content creators, right, in the gaming space, right? For example, on Twitter today, right, good old John De La Rose made a comment, something along the lines of, what was it? Like, he's getting attacked for being Christian, and that he's happy that his fan base is smarter because the people attacking him have a fan base that are just stupid and are being farmed for super chats. So even he is bringing up money because they always bring up money because that's what it's always about for people who are actually not content creators. It's always about money for them. Always, 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 always about money. And this is why you have no money. This is why you have no money. Flat out. If you chase money, you will have no money. Plain and simple.
Of these harassment campaigns, because I feel like there's a few big people at the top that are these mainstream content creators that are sort of instigators, but they love to wipe their hands of these things and say, well, I didn't do anything. I didn't personally call for, XYZ. Can you sort of walk me through the hierarchy of how these different sort of harassers?
Bro, why is she wiggling in her chair? What do you have, a fucking buzzer on your vagina? What is going on here? Look, she looks like she's about to, like, what the fuck is happening here? You need to repent. You need to repent. She got like the magic wand or something. Like, what the fuck is going on? She's just like wiggling in the chat. I can't, bro. Are you gooning? She's gooning. Is that what it is? She's gooning. Ah, the chat knows. The chat knows. She's gooning. Got it. Got it. She's going in. All right.
Operate
All right.
and where they land.
There's usually always in this instance of harassment campaigns, a few leaders who are most of the time very careful with what they say and what they share. You're rare that you're going to see someone who has 150, 250,000 Twitter or X.
She's in the chat. I don't give a fuck. Be in the chat. Who cares? Who cares? If she's in the chat, I don't give a fuck. It just leads more evidence to the fact that on my show, I talk about her one out of every 150 topics, if she's lucky. And yet she's in here obsessing like, oh, yeah, he's talking about me. I'm going to take notes. Take notes, bitch. Take notes. And don't forget to repent. Take notes.
Followers outright incite violence or threaten someone or anything like that. But what they will do is they will point ceaseless harassment at, or they will point endless fingers towards specific people in a way that they think is coy by saying, oh, well, I know this person, and here's a picture of clearly a person of color is involved in this game that didn't do well, and they probably don't like you, the gamer, and they rile up a base of smaller content creators who tend to be a little bit more loose with the stuff that they say, a little bit less careful with what they're inciting, a little bit more harassy with their videos and their comments. And then below that, you get sort of like anonymous foot soldiers that are just in droves. And those are the people who often or not are the ones in my inbox or in other people's inbox with outright threats or in my...
You mean like airbags drones? You mean like a lot of the people who you advocate for who have little bot drones that are in people's DMs? Or making, gifts of killing people? I mean, what do you call? Are you referencing me by like you're not saying me by name, right? What am I? Am I the second or am I one of the higher ones, right? Because I feel like she's using terminology that are very much tied to the bigot army, right? Because we call ourselves the bigot army, so I feel like she's really trying to tie something here. That's how I feel anyway. I have no idea. I have no idea. But listen, it's all good. It's all good. If and when I go to court, I just want to be known as the marginalized, because again, I'm a person of color, unfortunately for Alyssa Mercante. So if she tries to sue me, she'll be known to be the person, the white girl who's suing a Hispanic. That's going to suck for the headlines. But I'm the marginalized CEO of the bigot army. I'm sorry, I'm the award-winning marginalized CEO of the bigot army. That's how I want to be addressed in court. That's how I want to be addressed in court. And then I'll have all the gooners and the goonettes in the background, just like cheering on. I think it'll be great. It'll be great.
My emails, in my Instagram, finding my family's information, those anonymous people who are watching all of this content, taking in all of this content and being pointed towards people that they should be angry towards for some reason. They're not sure why. And that's when you end up getting this sort of wave and crest of harassment, because the leaders are just innocently pointing out people, but the undertones are very clear what they want to happen there. And it's the foot soldiers that will always carry that out.
So you wrote this story
The foot soldiers. This shit is so fucking edited. It's making me sick. It really is. It's making me sick because it's so obvious that they're not actually talking with each other. It's so obvious. You could tell they like pre-recorded this and they're saying, okay, I need you to say XYZ for this segment right here and go. And then she records it and then they say, all right, cut. And then they go to the next question and they put it all together. That's really what this is. It's so obvious.
Kotaku. And
this is why, also, let me just say something really quick. This is why they are unsuccessful at what they do. Because you are supposed to be genuine with your audience. In this video, this supposed podcast, right? It's a podcast. It screams disingenuous. It is not live. It is not real. It is not authentic. It is fake. It is edited. It is clearly TV. That's what it is. It's TV.
it kind of blows up. It becomes this viral piece of journalism that, of course, all of these awful people hate. Tell me what happened next to you.
Part of the reason why it got so bad for me in terms of harassment was because I refused to back down and I refused to apologize for nothing that I had done wrong, but just for being who I was. And in the immediate aftermath, there was a lot of finger pointing that this piece was untrue or purposefully leaving things out or none of this is correct. And when I was pushing back at that, that started kind of the waterfall of harassment. So I started becoming this kind of stand-in for everything that was wrong with games journalism. My face is plastered over hundreds of YouTube videos, watching my every move. I was getting threats in my work email and my personal email. I had to warn my parents to be careful because their address was circulating the internet. And it was just kind of your bog standard harassment campaign. They go after every piece of social media you have. They try and find every bit of personal information they can. And they're kind of obsessing over everything you do. I was joking that they probably had my menstrual cycle charted, but it really feels like that at a certain point. Like it is nonstop and it's every breath you take. Somebody is archiving it and putting it in these darker corners of the web, which eventually bleeds into the more typical places that people would go, like Twitter and YouTube.
And how has that affected your ability to do journalism and to further cover these issues?
I mean, it does feel in some ways like you're a pariah. Like there's a lot of people in the industry who have been incredibly supportive to me in private, but not as supportive as I'd like them to be in public.
Gee, why is that? Why won't they be supportive with you in public? See, this is the problem. This is that toxic positivity bullshit. This is the example of when someone so clearly doesn't actually support you and they're just pretending to support you, and then behind your back they're talking all kinds of shit. It's like, trust me, if nobody could support you publicly, then they don't actually support you. They just want you to feel that way so that you don't go after them.
And you know, my company when I was at Geo Media was very clearly unhappy with what was going on and very clearly unhappy with the way that I was reacting to it. And it ended up reaching a head where I could no longer work there. It wasn't working for anybody. And now I'm in this sort of in between where I really want to keep reporting on this stuff. I think it's crucial to keep reporting on this stuff. I don't want to disappear because that is what the goal of that harassment campaign always is. It's why when people have been making videos about me, they've said, well, why didn't you just go the way of Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian, who were two women that were kind of focal points of the first Gamergate, who drastically decreased their internet presence over the last decade. They want you to go away and they want to scare you off the internet. And I just kind of am refusing to do that. But it does make it very hard because then you start to wonder how many companies want to publish something with my byline because they're going to get dogpiled on or they're going to start to get harassed. And I've seen it in a small scale with my recent bylines at Rolling Stone. They're just, anytime they see my name anywhere, they're jumping on it like dogs with a bone. And it really is upsetting because at the end of the day, you know, I was doing my job and I was doing it well. And I think being put in a position where you feel like you might not be able to do it anymore is a complete bummer.